Bill DeWitt, John Mozeliak, Ali Marmol addressed the full squad yesterday. That's another rite of spring. And I'm not making fun of it, but it is true. It's as long as I can remember in Cardinal land, those talks have consisted of, as I look around this room, I believe we have everything we need to win a championship, So I remember, and Jim Heuer will definitely remember this too, last year at this time, I honestly, and I said it at the time, I honestly thought the Cardinals were laying it on a little thick. Not because I knock them for being confident or knock them for believing, but it wasn't just realistic. I mean, they were talking like, of course, we're World Series bound, and they didn't say that exactly, but the vibe, everything about the vibe was like they really believed it was going to be one of those years to remember, They were openly talking about the World Series and how convinced they were they had the kind of team that would do it. And that's good, but it was also not realistic because all you had to do was look around and see all the uncertainty with the starting pitching and, kind of go from there. They just weren't built to win a World Series. But so they've kind of they've managed to, convince themselves that they're capable of doing it this year, even though they added one player all off season. So, okay, whatever, go for it. Go get it done because it doesn't matter what we think on the outside. But, Jim, and at the risk of sounding cranky about this, if you think about it, and this is something I've talked about before, and I'll be brief. If you think about it, you had the National League MVP in Paul Goldschmidt. You had Nolan Arenado, who finished third in the voting. So you had two of the top three players in the National League. They were also two of the top 4 or 5 players in terms of wins above replacement in all of the majors. So you had career seasons for both of those guys. And you had, Brendan Donovan get Rookie of the Year votes, down ballot, but still. You had Gold Glove winners. You had a really excellent closer in Ryan Helsley. I mean, you had a lot of positive things going on. Kind of mini breakouts from Lars Nootbaar, and you had the emotion of Wainwright and Molina and all this other stuff. You made 2 really good trades for pitchers at the deadline. They're talking about Quintana and Montgomery. And yet, despite all that, it wasn't even so much the one and done, losing 2 in a row in the postseason to the Phillies. But a stat that I still believe, will always believe about 2022 really tells you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Outside the NL Central, the Cardinals were 45-41, And this is why I always say it's not just management. I think it's players, too. It's not ownership. It's not management. It's to a lesser extent. It's the players, or at least the players buy into what management says. The Cardinals, one of their only real problems is they, on a yearly basis now, this has been going on for a while, every single offseason in spring, they completely overestimate how good they are. I mean, they think they're great, and they're not. And, when you get outside of the cupcake division, they just haven't been all that hot. They've been a little bit over 500, but they think they're great. And that does a lot of damage because it prevents them from being perhaps prevents them, and I think it does, from being as aggressive as they should to improve the team every offseason and into the spring. They're convinced they're great. So that's why I'm only bringing this up about the meeting yesterday, because it was more of that stuff. Oh, well, hey, you just look around here. Whoa, man, what a team we have. Okay. 45-41 outside the division next year, and I know that last year, and I know that Wilson Contreras is going to make a difference. I think a big difference, but he ain't going to make you 10 wins better or something like that, and you're not going to have a much better record against good teams. He will help you though for sure, but I don't know. The Cardinals, and I'm talking ownership and management, they're really such an enigma. They really, truly are. Because on one hand, they're very, very consistent. They're very, very good. They've been very, very good for a long time. They do so many things right. But to me, maybe one of the most important things that you can do if you're sharp, I'm talking about ownership management, if you're really sharp about what you are and who you are, you know better than to fall in the same damn trap every single year of assuming you're much better than you really are. And that just prevents that prevents them from taking care of things when they have the time and the opportunity, instead of scrambling at the deadline every year, trying to make things right. I don't know, man. I don't understand it, because these are smart people, but boy, do they have, it's the best term I can think of, do they have some blind spots or what?
I heard that they may have given out the Central Division Championship hats prior to that meeting. So here, everybody grab one of these. This is where we're going.
Well, they probably can do that, but you never know.
We're really good, boys. Grab your hat. Let's celebrate. Yeah, they do. I want to say that I think from time to time they overhype some of these young players that they have. I think there's some really good ones. Don't get me wrong, but I think we get to a point where a lot of people will listen to what they're saying. And what I'm going to say is, for instance, a guy like Dylan Carlson, before he got here, he was going to be next great middle-of-the-order guy. Well, he's a nice player, but he hasn't proven that yet. Last year, and again, still more to prove, and I think there's a real upside to Nolan Gorman, but that's all they kept telling us, Nolan Gorman, Nolan Gorman, Nolan Gorman. This is I'm talking about from the organization. And I think sometimes to your point, they're overblowing some of the young prospects. They think, oh, this is the answer. This is the guy that's going to take us to the promised land. And the reality is they'll be part of a process, but they're not overly all that great. You still need a lot more pieces to supplement to get to that point. And I think we're still at that point with this group when they came into the locker room yesterday, because most of us will look at it and go, yeah, I think there's more pitching that needs to be had here. You can tell me about potential with the lineup, but I'll be shocked that there's not needed more significant pitching to get this thing, especially to the level that they think they're going to get to, and that's deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, they've overestimated their starting pitching for at least several years in a row. So that's an ongoing problem. And then I would put number two, where they do hype some of their prospects, which I think is a shame, because there's nothing wrong with their prospects. It's just they jack up expectations to the point where people wind up disappointed. To me, there's nothing about disappointing about Nolan Gorman as a 22-year-old rookie, except the last 75 at-bats of the season, where he just kind of fell off planet Earth. But 80% of the season offensively is really, really good. And, people say, well, what about the defense? First time he's ever played the position, and, oh, by the way, they put him there. It's not like he grew up playing second base as a kid, high school, and minor leagues. So, I think that if people were surprised or, really disappointed in his defense, they just weren't paying attention. They weren't paying attention to his background. That doesn't mean that he'll ever be a good second baseman. I have no idea, but yeah, there's a lot of that. Yet, sometimes they do get it right about their young players too, in terms of how they try to sell them. Palante was better than anybody expected. Donovan was better than anybody expected.
I could say that.
Lars Nootbaar has turned out to be much better than anybody expected. So it isn't like they're overhyping all these guys, but and some of these guys turn out to be really good right away. But yeah, I don't even know that it's necessary to pinpoint one area. It's a pattern of them really truly believing they're much better than they are every single year. And the truth is eventually revealed, and it's revealed in a way that leaves everybody bummed out or ticked off. Because, you expect, well, they were Cardinals. Gosh, they're really happy with what they have. They're fired up every year at this time. And then they beat up on the Patsies and the Tomato Cans in the Central. And it won't be that easy this year because they play them 13 times each instead of 19 times. But they beat on them and they kick them around, and they say, they pound their chest. Oh, watch out for the Cardinals. We mean business. We're taking no prisoners, real fired up about, owning and dominating the Pirates and the Reds especially, and the Cubs in recent years. Really, really proud of that. Not understanding that there's going to be bigger fish out there. Going to be, like I say all the time, use that Jaws line. You're going to need a bigger boat. They don't seem to realize that when it really gets down to whether you're going to be a champion or not, or really seriously contend to be a champion or not, you got to have a bigger boat to take to the competition. They don't seem to realize that. They just because they can pull. I'm using the fishing metaphor, I guess. Just because they have no problem whatsoever pulling the Pirates and the Reds and the Cubs in recent years onto the boat without much of an effort, they really think they're ready to go get a great white, and they end up like Robert Shaw in the Jaws, right?
Yes, I like it.
I mean, it's true.
Yes.
Look at us. Oh, that was easy. Yeah, but Pirates and Reds, Cubs aren't in the postseason. Y'all going to need a bigger boat. Did it ever occur to you? Apparently with them, it never does, right?
Go look out east, see how big their boat is.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Oh, that reminds me. Did you see where there's? I don't even know if it happened yet. I don't know if it happened yet, but either the major league owners or they've either formed a committee or they're going to form a committee about the payroll disparities and what should be done about it. And basically they're obsessing over I think it's the Dodgers guys, it's the Mets guy, it's the Philadelphia owner, it's the San Diego owner,
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have to worry about Boston anymore. They would have included them at one point, but John Henry I guess he's more of a soccer guy now or something. I don't know.
He just kind of quit. You're right.
I know. So there's talk of forming a committee, or they already have, or they're definitely going to. So I apologize to everyone because I was going to read that story today, but I didn't get to it. And I apologize. But the fact that even if at the very least they're talking about forming a committee to study these the payroll disparities, and everyone interprets it as just what I said. They're tired of 4 or 5 owners spending all this money. Well, they negotiate a CBA and they set in the guidelines, and these owners can spend whatever the hell they want to spend as long as they're willing to pay a payroll tax.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the problem is. This is the CBA you all agreed to after locking the players out for 2 months or whatever it was. So what do you need to study? This is something you just agreed to. No one's breaking any rules. But Buster Olney made the best point of all. He basically said, I don't have it in front of me. I don't need it to have in front of me. I'm just going to repeat what my friend said. He just said, wait a minute. So they won't form a committee or study a serious problem of all these teams tanking, and all these teams like Pittsburgh, for one, always stands out, that are collecting welfare payments from the other owners and not doing a damn thing to turn that into a more competitive product. And they're making profits, and like the Milwaukee Brewers, who I'm down on all of a sudden, not because of any kind of rivalry with the Cardinals, because of the way they're operating with that Corbin Burns arbitration and trying to shortchange him. Then find out that this Wisconsin legislature is in the process of putting a bill together where the state is going to pay like $300 million to fix up American Family Field.
Oh.
But go ahead and fight Corbin Burns to the death over $750,000. Yeah, go ahead and now just make sure 100% he's going to walk away as soon as he can. But that's all right. The taxpayers will give you $300 million as the owner of the Brewers. So this ties into what Buster Olney said. He said, let me see if I get this straight. So nobody forms a committee about getting these, in effect, these freeloading, ne'er-do-well, no-account owners who refuse to compete because they're actually going to make more money by not competing. No one thinks that's a problem at the highest levels of baseball. But as soon as Steve Cohen shows up And as soon as the guy in Philadelphia starts spending wildly, and the guy in San Diego, relatively new owner, he's going for it, and he's going to spend what he thinks is sick. Oh no! We got to form a committee. We got to form a committee. This is an emergency. They don't form any damn committees for all these welfare recipients in Major League Baseball who actually have embarrassed the product because they don't even try to compete. They're basically spit on their fans, and they laugh at their fellow owners who help fund their corruption, because that's what it is corruption. If you're not in professional sports to compete, and you're really happy just because you know you're going to make a big profit anyway, and you're going to get the government to bail you out. They're going to improve your ballpark. They'll build you a ballpark. That didn't happen here in St. Louis, by the way. But they'll build you a ballpark. They'll fund a lot of it. They'll give you improvements, just like the clown in Baltimore, who made another deal with the state to where the state's just going to throw massive sums of money to do whatever it is they have to do, and it's probably really not that much, at Camden Yards. It's all about just building the real estate around Camden Yards and doing it on behalf for the profit and the prosperity of the owners of that franchise. But you let 3 or 4 owners decide, you know what, this is pretty competitive. I'm going to go for it. I have all the money in the world. I'm going to do it for my fans. I'm going to do it for our team. I'm going to do it for myself. We're going to go for it. We're going to go all out and go all in, and we'll pay the payroll tax. That's no problem. But now MLB's, their response is like, what are we going to do? Let's get a committee going. No committees for the freeloaders, though. No committees to talk about that.
Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait a minute. You're not doing anything to help enhance anything. You're just sitting there going, they're spending a lot of money. It's not really good for us. They're bad news for us. Let's
we got to get a committee. Yeah, let's investigate them. We got to form a committee.
It's like, what in the world is going? And then to your point, we don't do anything. It's going to take away the money we're getting. We're getting money for these people. We can't have this. It's wow. It's amazing how messed up their thinking is.
These whining owners who behind the scenes are obviously complaining about this. Well, look at me. I can only spend this. No, actually, you can spend a lot more. You just don't want to spend it because you'd rather pocket the welfare payments and just go on the way you're going on. And if you're the Pirates right now, the Pirates have some really good young players. Cruz, the shortstop, going to be a terrific player. I mean, there are others. But what do you think is going to happen when it comes time for free agency? Or you're getting closer to free agency. And then, you either make the decision to keep them and you pay them market value, or you do with I was going to call him a really bad name, so I'll back off.
Okay.
If the owner in Pittsburgh, just what he did with Derek Cole, it's like, get him out of here.
Oh yeah,
just move him. So because that's the propaganda in Pittsburgh always. Well, we assembled. We had all these great draft picks, and we drafted these top 5, top 10 draft picks. We've been just doing it. That was our plan. And now we got this guy, and we got this guy, and we got that guy, so we can see the vision coming true. Yeah, the vision. The next vision is like, okay, when should we trade them before we have to pay them big money? What's the timetable? We can trade them for more prospects, and so it's this never-ending cycle. You draft a guy, develop a guy, you brag about it. Oh, well, this is our vision. And then as soon as the vision includes, oh, wait a minute, what? What do you mean? What do you mean his arbitration is going to be? What do you mean it's going to be like $18 million? What are you talking about? Well, we better make a trade here. Get him out of here, right?
It is pathetic because
But we don't need no committees for that, right?
None. Let's do an investigation on you guys because they have such a great setup with their building and the atmosphere around their ballpark. You would think it would be like a gold mine for them, but they can't figure that out, which is pathetic there.
All right, I want to rank the Cardinals outfielder. My first rankings of the 2023 season. And the point is to just like, okay, how's it look? Who are the top 3 guys going in? We know that it's going to change. We know that there will be variations. There'll be fluctuations. And so as the season goes along, I'm going to update the rankings on a regular basis. Because to me, this is the most interesting part of the team. It really, truly is. They have a lot of talent, but just in about every case, the talent also has a question mark attached to it. So I think we know the candidates. So rather than present that part, introducing our contestants, I'm just going to proceed directly to the rankings. Number 1, Lars Nootbaar. Well, why would you say that, Miklasz? Well, because of the final 3 months of 2022, he ranked 4th among Major League outfielders that had 250 plate appearances minimum. He ranked 4th in weighted runs created plus. That's basically a way to kind of neutralize stats based on ballpark and league effects, whatever. He was the final 3 months of 2022. He was 52% above league average offensively. 52% above league average offensively. The only outfielders who exceeded him the final 3 months were 3 guys named Aaron Judge, Randy Arozarena, and Juan Soto. Over that time, Newt was 3rd among big league outfielders in OPS, isolated power. He ranked 6th in slugging and on base. He had 12 homers, 13 doubles, 3 triples. He walked nearly as many times, 41, as he struck out 43 times. And you don't see that very often. Oh, and he also ranked 9th among MLB right fielders in defensive runs saved. His arm was rated among the top 6% of the outfield arms in baseball. His average X velocity was in the top 10% of the majors. His barrel rate is the top 15%. His hard hit rate was in the top 20%. His sprint speed was in the top 26%. His walk rate was in the top 2%. So you wonder why I put him at number 1? I just explained. Those numbers are remarkable. Now, his talent is obvious. Now, the only question is, can he sustain this over an extended period of time? We'll find out. I think he can. I'm not saying he's going to be that great, but as great as those numbers are. But he's got all the tools to be a really, really good hitter. It's nothing fluky about what he did. And number 2, if he needs to be a center fielder, will he be an effective center fielder? He only played 80 years. 80 years. That's a lot. Yeah, only played 80 innings there last season. All right, number 2, and that's okay. You can roll your eyes. It's Tyler O'Neill. No question, his 2022 season was disappointing. You've heard me holler about his ailments, and can anybody down there get a clue and actually put him on a program where he's not tearing a hamstring muscle every time he stands up to flush the toilet or whatever? Can somebody actually intervene here? Well, they did, and I think he's going to be healthier this season. Famous last words. I do understand the frustration with O'Neill, but I'm also puzzled by this kind of like dismissiveness of him. Even my friend Will Leach is like that. It's like, if you look at what he's been able to do when he plays, and it's not like it's impossible that he'll play a lot more now that he's got more flexibility and all that stuff. I mean, the idea of giving up on him is kooky. He was still slightly above average offensively last year, according to OPS Plus. And when he could play, he was one of the best RBI men on the team. Like when he had an RBI opportunity, he delivered 36.5% of the time. That was the 4th best on the team behind guys named Goldschmidt, Pujols, and Arenado. And he was very close to Arenado. And he also had an excellent 900 OPS with runners in scoring position. Remember, and I did the study on this and I presented it to you, the more he plays, the better he hits. So the key is obviously for him to be sturdy and to be able to play and not go to the IL as much. But even with his stops and starts in 5 seasons as a Cardinal, his .468 career slugging percentage ranks 16th in franchise history among 86 primary outfielders that had at least 1,000 career plate appearances for the Redbirds. So he's 16th out of 86 in slugging in the history of the franchise. And he's been 17% above average offensively for his Cardinals career. Even though he's missed so much time with injuries, the last 2 seasons, one was great, one was average, a little bit above average. But over his last 2 seasons, this is where he ranks among Major League Baseball left fielders. Minimum 900 plate appearances. second in wins above replacement, second in steals, third in runs created plus, third in slugging, third in OPS, third in base running, fourth in homers, fourth in isolated power, fifth in RBIs. He also won the Gold Glove in 20 and 21. Yeah, better dump that guy. Maybe you can get a mediocre left-handed reliever for him. I just don't think people understand how good he's been. The injuries have formed an opinion of him, which I share, that he's an exasperating player. The talent is there. The more he plays, the more he delivers, but he can't stay on the damn field. So you don't have to lecture me about that, because I've been in charge of the frustration here at the headquarters when it comes to him staying healthy. But when he plays, I mean, again, even with all these injuries, look at what he's done compared to other left fielders in Major League Baseball. He's damn good. He's got to stay on the field, so this will be a test. Now, number 3 in the rankings, Dylan Carlson. Keep in mind, these are tentative rankings. I ain't saying this is going to stay like this all season. That's why I'm going to update them when warranted. Listen, Carlson had a strong second half in 2021. He had a strong 3 months in 2022, May through July, where he was well above average in both of these phases that I mentioned. But he's been unable to sustain traction or momentum because of those irritating pattern of injuries and also his problems against right-handed pitching. On the positive side with Carlson, he's only 24. Last year he ranked 7th in the majors in defensive runs saved at center field. 7th among center fielders in defensive runs saved. And he owns a career 317 batting average with a 377 on base and a 492 slug against left-handed pitchers. He's still got the goods. He still is capable of really becoming a terrific player. But it's like O'Neill, got to stay on the field. Also needs to do better against right-handed pitchers. And I'm confused as to why it's not just Cardinals people. It's his own father, who's a great coach out in SoCal. I don't understand why no one can show him the way to get better against right-handed pitchers. I simply don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense. Number 4, I didn't know where to put Brendan Donovan because he is going to play in the outfield. I just don't know how much. But out of respect for what he did last year, and if Jordan Walker doesn't make the big club out of spring training and spends a couple months at Memphis, let's say, Donovan's probably going to play more in the outfield than he will when Jordan Walker is installed. As a rookie in 2022, Donovan ranked 7th in the majors in on-base percentage among people that had 450 plate appearances. The only 6 major league hitters had a higher on-base percentage last year than Brendan Donovan, were Aaron Judge, Freddie Freeman, Yordan Alvarez, Paul Goldschmidt, Yandy Diaz, and Juan Soto. The rookie was hanging with a pretty good crowd there. He also can hit left-handed pitchers and right-handed pitchers equally. If he can come close to repeating his on-base percentage, he's got to stay in a lineup. And the corner outfield is one of the places he can go as he moves around at 6 different positions. It's how much in the outfield, I don't know. Some of it obviously depends on other outfielders and how they're doing. But obviously he's going to be – I don't think the kid has to worry about making the team. It was suggested in one recent story. I don't think he's –
No.
I don't think he's Ben DeLuzio, okay? Where'd the smart people go?
No kidding.
Number 5, I'm putting Jordan Walker on the list. And by the way, I didn't know what to do with him. I didn't know what to do with him simply because he's never played above Double-A and he's never played in the majors. He's one of the top most heralded prospects in baseball, and he can zoom up this list in a hurry once he gets in the lineup and once he starts to show how good he is, if in fact he does that. You know, is he going to start at the beginning of the season here? Is it going to be May? Is it going to be June? Is it going to be the All-Star break? We don't know. And he's never played above Double-A. I don't know if Cardinals management wants to give him more developmental time at AAA. Might help him. On the other hand, the baseball headquarters people might be eager to install him ASAP. But his abundant talent, his intelligence, maturity transcends the number 5 ranking on this list. But I see no reason to rush him up higher in my rankings because we should at least wait till he leaves the minor leagues and puts him behind. And the Cardinals have to be sure that he's ready, and they're not going to put him on the team just to have him sit on the bench. So once he's here, he's playing a lot. and then we can reevaluate him. But he's the number 2 prospect in all the majors, according to Baseball Prospectus. Number 4 overall, according to the MLB Pipeline and Baseball America. Number 5 overall, according to our friend Keith Law. And we know that he had monster numbers for a 20-year-old at Double-A last year. But I put him number 5 because that puts him outside. He's kind of like waiting on the stage wings to make his appearance on the stage. So we put him in number 5, and that's fine because he'll be playing soon enough, and then we can adjust. Number 6, I got Juan Yepez. He had a .447 slugging percentage as a rookie, but that doesn't guarantee anything. He's still someone's got a lot to prove. He was slugging .500 last year on July 7th, but he went into a deep slump. He got hurt. He got put down to Memphis. He slugged only .268 over his final 20 regular season games, but he only hit 1 homer in his final 75 at-bats. But as if to remind us, he came off the bench in the 7th inning, hit a 2-run homer to put the Cardinals ahead of the Phillies 2-0 in Game 1 of the wild card series. So he's going to have an opportunity to make his case for playing time, but I just don't know if that we're talking outfield or primarily DH. I'm sure he'll play a little outfield, but I don't view him as like a guy that's going to be a regular in the outfield mix. I could be wrong about that. Number 7, we go with Alec Burleson. 53 plate appearances last year for the Cardinals. Late last season, hit 188. I throw it out because it means nothing in assessing his long-term outlook in the majors. But I will say this. The Cardinals were hoping that Burleson would have jumped on an opportunity, made a positive impression, turned some heads, and earned a spot on the postseason roster. It obviously didn't happen. And because of that, he's still sort of at the back of the line or near the back of the line as far as getting an opportunity. Had he made, again, it was only 53 plate appearances, but had he really done a lot with that, he might have got a jump on this year. But it didn't turn out that way. That doesn't mean you write him off. It just means I don't know when his full MLB opportunity is going to come, if it's going to come at any point in 2023. But he does have a shot to hit his way onto the 26-man roster during the exhibition games. If some other people don't look that hot or there are some injuries, he might be able to barge his way onto the team. Baseball America, their scouts, everyone, he gets a lot of positive reviews nationally. Number 8, I'm going to put Moises Alou. No, not him. Moises Gomez. Sorry. Number 8. His power's damn impressive after Tampa Bay gave up on him because of his extra chronic strikeout problem. He revised his hitting approach. He ditched his leg kick. It cut down on his lunging. It helped him see the incoming pitches better and made him more balanced at the plate. That said, even though he led the minor leagues last year with 39 homers and in slugging percentage over 600, he still struck out 34.5% of the time in Double-A and Triple-A. Season was split. Cardinals front office put him on the 40-man roster. They're captivated by him. And I don't think there's any doubt he'll make his major league debut in 2023. But beyond that, I don't know. He's okay. He's pretty athletic, actually. He could play some outfield, but he could be a DH. If others flop, and I'm talking about the outfielders, or others get hurt, he could have an opportunity sooner than later. But at this point, it's virtually impossible to predict the role or playing time for him this early in the 2023 cycle. Finally, I do have a number 9. Yes, I do. Oscar Machado, the right-handed hitting outfielder, former Cardinals prospect. They drafted him in the second round in 2013, traded him to Cleveland in late July 2018, re-signed him this past November after the Phillies granted him free agency. Listen, he could figure in a bench role at some point during the season, just like Ben DeLuzio got a shot and was actually on the postseason roster. You know why? Because even though Machado never lived up to his promise offensively, in 266 games, mostly with Cleveland and then with the Phillies, he batted .235. He had an on-base percentage under 300, and he had a .388 slug. And he performed as a major leaguer so far, 267 games, 20% below league average offensively. But if you look at him as a bench type, if you need that, he plays good defense, he runs well, he doesn't strike out much, he has some pop. He can play all 3 positions in the outfield, and he's slightly above average at all of them. And he has not hit well against right-handed pitchers, but he did slug .455 against them last year. So he'll be on standby at AAA Memphis. He's not on the 40-man. But he'll be a standby in Memphis and can provide some depth to cover for injuries or other developments. And he'll be ready to kind of plug in if they need that depth guy. Just like DeLuzio had that last season. He had that role, and he did get on the postseason roster. So, Mercado is at least some guy. Just be aware that he's there, because I would not rule out him being a Cardinal at some point, even if it's for a very minimal role for a brief amount of time. But I remember when he was all that as a Cardinals prospect, and he started off really well in Cleveland, but he kind of fizzled after that. Another guy is Matt Koperniak, I believe is how he says it. I'm not going to put him in the rankings right now. He's age 25, left-handed hitter with a high on-base percentage guy, solid power. Played at 3 different levels of the system in 21, and then last year he was in Springfield and Memphis. Hit .291, had a really good on-base, pretty good slug. So he's a guy that if they have numbers issues, guys go down, whatever. He could be in the periphery of getting a chance to play, just like Connor Capel did last year. Remember when he came up and did okay? Yeah. Something like that. All right, so that's my number 9, and we got to go, I know, but I didn't leave Jim Heuer enough time to say what he would change. He doesn't like O'Neill, so he would have O'Neill at number 9.
I don't even know why you got him on your list.
That's right.
No, it's all good.
And Jim would have. I have 9 guys on the rankings. Jim would have Dylan Carlson at number 26. So
I don't like any of these guys. I don't know what we're not going to win anything this year.
That's right. And as almost on cue, like I'm going to check. I know I'm going to get an email. There's going to be a guy say, I can't believe you pansies in the St. Louis media, all this nonsense about Lars Nootbaar. The Cardinals are spoon feeding you this stuff. This guy ain't no good. Well, I actually got that email last year when Lars Nootbaar was actually carrying the Cardinals when Goldschmidt went into his late season swoon. Nootbaar is good, man.
Every time he gets his chance.
Second half of the season, offensively, the 4th best outfielder offensively in the majors. But you got people out there spitting. You do.
I know.
It's just Cardinals BS. Yeah, the soft media's falling for it. No. He's great, and it's supported by fact. So I'm looking forward to him. To me, he's the easy number 1 right now.